Welcome into a Clippers Talk Live. Yet another one today. Must be some news out there. I'm Adam Osland. This is our second show of today, unless you count Clippers Talk After Dark last night, where I ordered McDonald's at 1 a.m. And yeah, I couldn't help myself after getting home from the Intuit Dome. I had to keep the show going a little bit. Check that out. Did a film breakdown a little bit earlier today. Had Carl Tart on from New York, as he's a writer for SNL now. And we also had some breaking news. But this news might be more important. Jamal Christopher is back on the show. Now, I couldn't get he and his brother, so they can't beat the allegations that it's just one guy. But they are twins. It's real. Feel better. Justin Wilson, he's a little bit under the weather. He's had that cold that's been going around. But Jamal, I appreciate you coming in here after the first game of the season. You know I was looking forward to this because I think I texted you last week. I was like, we need some real analysis after game one of the regular season, and Jamal Christopher can supply that.
I hope so. I hope so, bro. I got a question. Have you slept yet?
What's sleep? What's this sleep thing you speak of? I know
Yeah,
nothing
I
about
figured. I
that.
figured,
I got
man.
5 hours in. What do you need? 5 hours. Get on that schedule like a head coach, you know?
Hey, if it works for you, man. But like, I would say what the last month or so, bro. Like, I don't know who works harder. You're doing like a billion things every day. Every day is a different show. It's a different obligation, and like, man, you're putting in a lot of work. Like, you need to make sure you get your sleep, man.
Wise man said sleep is the cousin of death. So you know what? I'm gonna see how far I can take this until I hit the wall.
Yeah,
Speaking of
hit
the
the wall.
wall,
Yeah.
last night, glowing reviews even from the opposition at Intuit Dome, the home opener. KD was caught talking about it post game. Devin Booker was talking about it post game. KD missed 2 free throws uncharacteristically in the second half in the fourth quarter, which meant everybody got Chick-fil-A. That was very cool. But just before we get into some of the details of the game and the analysis here, were you at the game? Did you not come say hi to me? Like, what's up with that? Did that happen?
Bro, I still need to know where you guys are at.
It's
But yeah,
fair. It's
I
fair.
was at the game. Like 10 out of 10 basketball experience, bro. Like that. And I was at a preseason one, but this was like on a whole different level, even like the fan fest stuff before. But yeah, I definitely didn't like intentionally not see you, my dog. But we
We are
gotta we
tucked
gotta make
away a
that.
little bit for now.
I
But
heard, man.
we're still good. We're still good. Like,
Hmm.
there's not a bad seat in the house there, and the
There's not.
seats are well
Yeah.
cushioned.
Yeah,
Well
no,
cushioned.
for sure. I was telling my mom that today, because she was asking me about the game, and I was just like, man, you literally can buy a ticket to any spot in the house, and you're gonna get a great view. The halo is money well spent. That was ridiculous. Energy all through the arena. And yeah, man, I mean, the perfect thing would have been the win, especially in that fashion if Harden hit the
Mm.
game winner. But yeah, no, fantastic night. And honestly, as a Clipper fan, to just look at all the rave reviews about last night, the arena, and everyone loving what's going on and the direction we're going in, it's like because we all know how much went into this, and how many years was spent crafting this cathedral of basketball of sorts that Ballmer's put together, and to see it come into fruition like that was awesome, man. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for sure, man.
I think my favorite part was getting to see Steve Ballmer at the wall,
Right?
making it official,
Mm,
saying "Welcome home, Clipper Nation." Like, this is something that he has wanted to do for all of Clippers fans throughout the
mhm.
world for a long time, and he absolutely delivered for all the reasons that you named there. It's surreal, honestly. That's why I can't sleep. Like, I'm still on cloud nine. I can't stop thinking about it. The Clippers have their own home, and it's not just theirs, it's the best out there in the entire world.
And it's one of those things where, like I was saying, like, man, go tell your parents, your grandparents that the Clippers have this kind of arena. It's mind-boggling, bro. Like, mind-boggling. Like, come on, man. It's us. Like, we're not sharing this with no other sports team. There's nobody else. It's us. You go there, the first thing you see are basketball courts, and everyone is decked out in Clipper merch. Yeah, man, it was just such a great sight to see, man. So many Clipper fans in one place, bro.
We were hugging each other a little bit with the broadcasting crew. We've had some moments of embrace since we got in there, just being like, I know Brian Siemens says it all the time, but the worst day in the NBA or working in the NBA is the best day anywhere else. So we've never had bad
That is great.
days.
That's
It's
great,
all
yeah.
good. But I said to him at one point, I was like, if I told you 7 years ago when I first started working with him that someday you would be the voice of the Clippers and in an arena like this for opening night, what would you say? And we just shook our head like, this is crazy. It's a dream.
Nah. And me and B Seaman go back as well, man. Like, I met B Seaman, if I'm not mistaken, when I used to work for the Clippers. I also did like some junior NBA coaching, and there was a clinic, and his son was there. And I think that was like my first interaction with B Seaman, and that was way back. And I'm pretty sure like we didn't envision anything like this, like that. Bro, I promise you, I'm not trying to gas it as just a Clipper fan, but like that was a ridiculous experience, man. And then to cap it all off, you're leaving, and as you're heading to your car, you got people just hooping, like real pure basketball stuff, man. And yeah, and not to jump ahead or anything, but like I just like to say, man, that building was not built for the 23, 24, 25, 26 Clippers. That's just something that's going to be around for at least the next 20 and 25 years, and it's ours. So, in theory, if Ballmer goes one season and says, okay, hey, we need to improve on this, he can go and work on it right away.
Yeah.
That's something that he was saying that he struggled with at crypto, because like you can't just go and make improvements when you share the space with two other franchises. So yeah, man, it's only gonna get better from here, man. What a great time to be a Clipper fan for sure, bro.
I already feel like right now they're still 10 years ahead. So thinking about
Facts.
renovating a
Yeah.
place with that level of technology, God, mind-blowing Chappelle Show skit.
Oh,
Jamal Christopher
classic.
is our guest here. Clayton Bigsby was the name, I think. That
It was
was
a
a pretty,
classic show.
yeah, all-timer. There were some
Facts.
celebrities there at the ball game. I saw Jason Sudeikis was there. Who else did you see? Because I was so into it. I'm distracted. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming looking at the board and everything.
Yeah. I saw there were some few people on the red carpet that I didn't really know. I saw Terry Crews. That's like the
Nice.
biggest. That was somebody that I saw as well.
Underrated performance and big shoes to fill in Friday After Next, or the last, what was it called? Yeah, Friday After Next.
Friday After Next. He's
We're getting no
he's
last Friday, but Friday After Next, him filling in for the late great Debo, he
yeah.
was actually awesome in that role.
Yeah, nah. That scene with him in the bathroom with Money Mike, and he's just wake up, Snowflake, or something like that. Yeah, it's classic. Yeah,
There's
that's
gonna be
classic
ball
stuff.
juice everywhere. Like, it's also awesome.
Did you?
Kawhi says that's his favorite Christmas movie.
It's a classic, bro. Like it's so many funny stuff in there. Like, um, yeah, man. I think the next Friday is better than Friday After Next, but it's close. It's close for sure,
Yeah.
bro.
All right, we're getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked. I know there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
report earlier today. We have to address it to some degree quickly here. I just read the entire lawsuit. It was Chris Haynes of where is he reporting for now? Is he a free agent? Chris Haynes, senior NBA insider, is what it says on
Yeah, I
his
saw.
Twitter bio.
Yeah, I saw this summer that he was a free agent, him and Shams. So I don't know what happened with that.
We know where Shams is. I saw him
Yeah.
outside actually yesterday.
Saw him.
Speaking of celebrities, he's
Yeah.
big time now. Good for him. But the lawsuit is from a former trainer of the Clippers, Randy Shelton. And I'll just read this just to get the particulars out of the way. Uh, Lawyers for Randy Shelton said he's willing to talk with the NBA about his knowledge about how the Clippers recruited Kawhi, though, quote, not part of the damages relief sought by Shelton. He'll fully cooperate with the NBA. So that was a side quest in this lawsuit. That's not part of it. He was just seeming to take shots at the Clippers for no reason other than being a disgruntled employee. Because the original post that came out 4 hours ago from Chris Haynes said former Los Angeles Clippers trainer Randy Shelton is suing the franchise for wrongful termination, among other things, after he claims he was fired after complaining that Kawhi Leonard was being subjected to unsafe and illegal treatment for injuries. The Clippers released a statement and said Mr. Shelton's claims were investigated and found to be without merit. We honor Mr. Shelton's employment contract and paid him in full. This lawsuit is a belated attempt to shake down the Clippers based on accusations that Mr. Shelton should know are false. I read the entire thing. There's two things that stood out to me immediately, and people can say I'm a company man and all these things, but one thing he says is Kawhi, after getting the ACL repair, needed to be out for 730 days, which is 2 years. Like saying that's the standard, 2 years. Like that happens ever in professional sports anymore. And so his basis basically for saying that they rushed him back is because he wasn't out for 2 years from an ACL, which you don't see. And then he said, the lawsuit said, they played him significant minutes in his first 2 games back. And to anyone in Clipper Nation, that probably should have put up a red flag because Kawhi was coming off the bench and didn't play more than 21 minutes his first 2 games back from the ACL before, yes, he had the stiffness in his knee and then missed a month. He wasn't playing hardly at all. He played 21 minutes and came off the bench his first 2 games back. So that seems like, legal lawyer wording, significant. Really? I don't know about that. What your thoughts, Jamal? I know we can get it out of the way quickly.
Yeah, I didn't dive into it like that. Before we got on, I actually tried to like get on it a little bit. I think my biggest takeaway was the premise that the Clippers, having prioritized Kawhi's health, rushed them back. Just seems the exact opposite of what they've done with him. They've pretty much given him everything they've wanted, everything that he's wanted.
He
But
has
like,
his own doctors.
Yeah, like
how could he be rushed back? The entire narrative, the entire time with Kawhi Leonard has been from all the media and everybody that, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't care about basketball and he can't get out there on the court. And now it's, he was playing too much. Is that what Stephen A. Smith is going to say tomorrow? Is he going to flip?
Yeah, and it's confusing. But at the same time, I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna call him a liar or anything like that. We'll just see what happens. Yeah. I think the biggest part is the whole the tampering stuff, and he said he's willing to cooperate. And if the findings of that go left, we already are kind of in the red when it comes to like draft picks and draft equity and stuff. So you just don't want to go there in terms of like punishment in regards to that, if the findings come as such. But yeah, I that was my biggest takeaway. I just don't really understand how the Clippers haven't been, at least on the outside looking in. I don't really understand how the Clippers haven't been prioritizing, along with what you said, the whole like 2 years plus when it comes to like an ACL injury in like 2021. Like, this is modern basketball. Like, that does not happen like that.
Yeah.
But
it reads
I don't know.
some of the verbiage like saying he was lured away from San Diego State and like he was promised all these things and they didn't deliver on these things for him. It reads like some real bitterness towards the organization. Now, you could call me a company man. You can say whatever you want. Read it yourself. I'm rooting for the truth to come out in this above anything else. But that's just on first blush how I see it so far. We can move on. We've addressed it. Let's get to the game last night, Jamal. So I went through the final 4 minutes where the Clippers had a 9-point lead with 3:52 left in the fourth quarter. And I think that's what made it so disappointing. It didn't have to go into overtime. They had their opportunities. How did you feel about the way the offense was ran late with James Harden at the controls and some of those possessions we saw down the stretch?
I thought down the stretch James Harden was it. And whenever he's in the midst of like not at his best in terms of wind. Like he's a bit tired out there. I think it affects his decision making. Um, he's like some of the shots he took. There was a post entry that he tried to get into Zoo that was just a ridiculous attempt. Um, but yeah, I think down the stretch once Harden got tired, it kind of affected everybody. Uh, but yeah, I was saying like, bro, this is gonna be our season. Like we do have enough quality NBA players to where as long as Harden is healthy and we keep a reasonable amount of health, we're gonna be competitive. We got a lot of defensive talent. And these are going to be coin flip games that we're going to be a part of a lot of the time this year, I think. So this is a situation where we have to win these type of games if we're serious about overachieving. Especially when this is somebody in your division like that was really hurtful because also too we got to try and stay away from. I know we're talking about down the stretch, but there was a stretch in the second quarter.
Oh,
I think was it the second quarter where we just couldn't score,
six
and the Sun,
minutes.
yes, and the Suns lead got up to 14, and it's like we got to try and stay away from that as much as possible. Um, but yeah, no, down the stretch, I thought Harden got tired. And he made a few bad decisions. And then in general, just not having the best place to go to in the times of crisis, kind of reared its ugly head right there. But yeah, no, we that's a game you got to win. You have to win those games if you're serious about overachieving, man. We don't have the margin for error for that.
And going back to it real quick because people were asking about it, they wanted to know about the Kawhi trainer situation. It's
Hmm.
breaking news. I don't know what it's going to amount to. I'm just going to add one more point about this. If you think the Clippers were rushing Kawhi or forcing him to do anything, maybe think about the game that season where he didn't play in the second half out of nowhere and no one knew. And you think
What
they
game?
could
Oh, the
push him?
Grizzlies. The
You think
Grizzlies
they
game.
could
Yeah,
push
yeah,
him?
yeah.
You think they were rushing him when he just did play a second half? His teammates didn't know, and it didn't seem like Coach Lou knew. Are you kidding me? That's the narrative. I find it very hard to believe. All
Yeah,
right.
it's one of those things where like you kind of have to wait to see what happens. But yeah, optically, like from the outside looking in, at least that part of it does not feel like it adds up, man. If you've been following the Clippers for the last 5 years or whatever it's been since the Kawhi era has begun, um, I'm not sure. I was texting my brother this. I was like, bro, Kawhi Leonard is a grown man. Like the idea that the Clippers are making him do something, and I think the language they use for the 700 and some days or whatever when you recover from an ACL, he said that the Clippers deemed it unacceptable. And I was just like, the whole thing right there sounded weird. But I mean, like I said,
We'll see.
this is a guy that had obviously had real ties with Kawhi and was a part of the organization. So he's obviously speaking from some point of reference. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, at least right now, from the start of it, on the outside looking in, a lot of things just aren't adding up to me.
Yeah. And it's just impossible to not bring up some of the stuff that we've experienced over the years that flies in the face of the lawsuit.
Mhm.
Just on the surface level, I read the entire thing, but we'll see. It's a legal matter at this point and rooting for the truth. You mentioned that second quarter. Part of the issue to me started in the first quarter where Ivica Zubac gets into foul trouble and picks up two
Mhm.
quick ones. That kind of derailed any rhythm or timing they had to their offense to me, and especially Ivica Zubac, who looked miserable in the first half. He turned it around. He had a great third quarter. He did well at times in the fourth quarter for them, but they are so dependent, Jamal, as we knew all offseason, on running high pick and roll with Big Zoo and James Harden. And if that gets disrupted, they're in big trouble. If Zoo doesn't do his part, if he's not hitting some of those floaters and not doing what he did last year, the best center in the league, field goal percentage wise, from 5 to 9 feet out, they're in trouble. They don't have a lot of places to turn.
Absolutely not. We were saying it today. Like I think he had like 23 and 9, and I don't think he had the best game by far. But yeah, when he got in early foul trouble, I was saying, that's something that we have to watch. This is going to be a year for Zoo where the responsibilities increase, the scoring, the touches, the opportunity. But with that comes like you have to be able to do that while also maintaining a level of defensive efficiency. You also have to do that staying in foul without fouling. You got to do it, uh, not getting tired. I thought the start of the game, Zoo just felt like not ready for regular season basketball. It took him a minute. Like he was a bit slow to me. So yeah, once he got back into it, we kind of were already trending in the wrong direction. Also too, you mentioned the high screen and roll with Harden and Zoo. That's going to be one of our staples. I'm just going to go out and say it. I think James Harden is going to, for the sake of him and the team, he's going to have to make better decisions going forward out of that, with the ball in his hands. And one of them, in my opinion, is going to be he's going to have to severely cut out these rim attacks. Like he's going to have to just, because like when he breaks the free throw line at times, it's almost like you're just praying for the best. Like he's going into defenders, he's trying to get a foul, and it looks rough. And then you saw in the
Overtime, he
third,
was on the floor a couple times and didn't get the
yeah,
call trying to do just that.
yeah, and I think there was one play either we tied it and got the lead in the fourth where he got the mismatch on Tyus Jones, and instead of going all the way, got to his spot at the free throw line, stepped back and just rose. I think that's going to be such better offense, or that, or it's patent intended step back. But
Hmm.
yeah, he's got to make better decisions out of that. I thought he played fine. Not the best game, but I thought he played fine. Uh, but yeah, no, the Zoo and Harden dynamic is gonna be our bread and butter. And if Zoo is gonna be in foul trouble like he did to start the game, that's gonna disrupt a lot for sure.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I was impressed with some of his bursts in the fourth quarter. He had a crossover on Kevin Durant where he did get the call after
Yeah,
shaking
Harden.
him at the basket. And yeah, James Harden. And I was like, whoa, that almost looked like Brooklyn Nets before the hamstring injury. James Harden on that play right there. So I see what you're saying. Sometimes it looks a little bit out of control, and at best you're getting the foul, and he's not going up so much with the intent to try to score right there. But also, if they don't get enough downhill attack or just have the threat of it and have teams thinking about that, I find that a little bit concerning too. Like there has to be a little bit of balance. I don't know.
Well, I agree, and I know the play you're talking about. Um, I would say then he just has to be a bit more selective when he decides to break the free throw line. Um, because when it's a ton of traffic down there, it just becomes like a Hail Mary.
Mm.
And I'm saying that because of the way he ended last year. That little stretch of games, I think it was like the last 25 games or so. It was bad, man. It was bad. And I think last year, um, what was it? I think I was looking at something the other day. It was his least attacks at the rim in his career. And it's just not a good trend, James Harden going to the rim. And with him having the ball in his hands a ton, I think it's just going to be pivotal that he just picks and chooses when he decides to go all the way to the rim. There was also a few times too where I thought he could have, went for it, and then he kind of looked at the rim and then dropped off a dime to Zoo. So yeah, that's just all in all, it's going to be something we're going to have to look at. But I do think like that little 15-footer, it's there for him, man. It's a much better percentage shot to me at this point of Harden's career than him trying to finish at the rim with the diminished lift that he has.
Yeah, I guess I'm hoping that some of those floaters near the rim will turn into lobs to Zoo and Kai Jones now, maybe here and there. And I want to
Yeah.
see some of that Houston James Harden where you don't know if it's a floater or a lob coming to the big man, rolling to the basket
Hmm.
with him. But I get what you're saying. He hit 5 shots in the mid range last night. Chuck Mockler looked it up post game. We were talking about it. He hit 5 shots in the mid range. So I asked Coach Lou pregame about Derek Jones Jr. in the mid range because he showed it off a little bit in the preseason. And apparently he told the coaching staff, hey, that's my shot. They didn't feature it in Dallas, but I got that shot. The midi. Derek Jones Jr. said that. Coach Lou told me pregame that. So that was interesting. And then he encouraged some of the other guys that he's okay with that shot. And I think he brought up James specifically. They do need that from him. Like, he has to get back to not just being the analytics monster.
Yeah. All in all, the one thing I will say is Harden got up 28 shots. And if Harden is going to get up 28 shots, you're going to find yourself like you did last night, which is with a chance to win, right? Him getting up 28 shots is good.
You think it's sustainable?
That's what I was about to say. If he's getting up 28 shots and he's getting like 28 points, 12 rebounds, or however, no, I don't know what his line was, or 12 assists, something like that. But it means he's engaged, he's in the game, he's aggressive. Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask though, because what happens when James Harden can't get up 28 shots or however many it was? So, yeah, I just think how you go about those 28 is going to be a big thing. And yeah, we'll see.
I'm taking a lot of heat right now. Not in the chat yet, but I will be. JMI1324 asks, how did you guys view the KPJ minutes? Does he need to reel it in a lot more or keep looking to score? So I said in the preseason after the game in Brooklyn, like, I've seen enough. I think at some point he could be in the starting lineup. And I tweeted that out. Now, some point could be the end of this year, a game where Harden's not starting, next year since he's on a 2-year contract. But I put that out there. And it's my fault if I take heat for it now after he went 1 for 8 last night. And, like, I think what's crazy is, Jamal, I'm sure you get this, but people are like, those are terrible shots. Those are bad shots. It's like, guys, those are the shots he's going to take. That's who KPJ is. Have you watched his game? Like, yeah, they're going to look bad when they don't go in. But I don't think those were out of the ordinary shot profile stuff from him. Did you?
No, absolutely not. I think if the Clippers are going to overachieve, if KPJ is going to be here, we're going to need KPJ to be KPJ. And yeah, I don't think he hijacked the offense or anything like that. He was playing Kevin Porter Jr. basketball. You know, one of the stretches that he was in, you know, it was in the midst of that drought. And it's like, bro, if James Harden and Norman Powell aren't on the floor, you don't think KPJ is doing enough. Like, who else is going to be the guy to put pressure on the defense? And you know, this is something that I go back and forth with about, not with just KPJ, but with people in general. They think basketball is played in a way where everything results or should result in like great shot, wide open shot, and just perfect basketball. And it's like, it's the NBA, man. Like, it doesn't work like that. And if you are out there and it's KPJ with nobody else to puncture the defense, the shots are going to be tough. KPJ is in the NBA because of that skill, because he can create shots off the dribble and he makes tough shots. That is what KPJ does. Now, how good is he at it? We'll find out. He really hasn't played on a team in which it mattered, like a team that was actually playing for something. And I do worry a bit. Like you said, KPJ at some point could be a starter. And I'm like, if KPJ is a starter on your team, where are we playing at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what seed are we?
Yeah.
But like I said, earlier this summer, KPJ has a lot to prove, and perhaps he is a valuable member to a team that's trying to win games, and he just hasn't had the opportunity yet. So we're gonna find out a lot about KPJ, but in terms of his ability, you saw it last night. The game is a bit different in that second quarter if KPJ is being KPJ, and when he comes in the game, we are going to need him much in like the Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford role, where he's going to have to make some shots to stimulate the offense and settle guys down until Harden gets back on the floor, man. We're going to need KPJ. It sucks, but we're going to need him.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like if you're going to be successful, as Coach Lou said at Media Day, for us to be successful this season, he's going to have to make a big impact.
Yeah,
So I think he's going to continue to get opportunities. Now, if he struggles to this extent for a week or a week and a half, then maybe there's a change and Bones Highland gets in. Or, as everybody's talking about in the comments, like Daniel M. Denton here saying, quote, Jordan Miller should be that guy. KPJ, from what I've watched, does not seem as reliable, which is quite a bold statement since Jordan Miller has played like, I
I
don't
was gonna
know,
say that.
50 minutes
Yeah,
in the NBA, and you're talking about him being more reliable. And KPJ has averaged 19 points in the league. Granted, for a bad team, dysfunctional team, but that's still not easy to do. You really can't compare right now.
absolutely. You no,
Even though I would love
no.
Jordan Miller minutes.
Well, two things, right? Number one, yeah, I'm just gonna have to disagree with that reliable statement. Like, what are you basing that off of when it comes to Jordan Miller? Like summer league, or you know what I mean? But with that being said, I am a Jordan Miller guy. I definitely think Jordan Miller, if he plays last night, the outcome could have been different.
Mm.
And I was saying this to someone at the game last night. You kind of can't rush Jordan Miller because Ty Lue has a locker room to manage, and there's a lot of vets there, and you kind of just got to let them play their way out. And Jordan Miller, he's gonna get his opportunity. You look at the guy, no disrespect, but you look at the guys that are in front of him, right? And just on some basketball stuff, like if you are really like that, you beat these guys out. When your opportunity comes, you take it, and you don't look back. And I think Jordan Miller's in prime position to do that. I think that's one of the takeaways last night for me personally was Jordan Miller minutes are coming. They are coming. And his ability to get downhill and get to the line, we really do need to explore that and see if that's transferable because there are moments in the game last night where we really could have used that. He also has some really nice defensive instincts with some nice size. So, yeah, Jordan Miller is coming. Pause. He's coming, but it's
My God.
yeah, I know. The Jordan Miller minutes are on the way, but I can't say that he's more reliable than KPJ. You got to let KPJ play out his role. And plus, we still don't know what's gonna happen with KPJ and the suspension anyway. So
I think they see it as if he's suspended, Bones is back in the rotation, and maybe you see Jordan Miller sooner than later. I'm with you. I don't I wanted to see him last night. Like the more I thought about it last week coming out of the final preseason game where he had 21, the more I don't know, momentum I had for talking about Jordan Miller and banging the table and saying like, "Wait a second, what are we doing here?" Like you draft a guy that's that old in the hopes that he's ready to play sooner than later. It looks
right.
like that's the case with him. So what are we waiting for? And even if you say, like you just did, and other people have made this point, and I get it, but you say, well, he'll get his shot, and once he does, I'm sure, he'll take the baton and never look back. It's like, if we already know that, then give him a shot now. If we already all think that he is going to never look back once he gets his NBA shot, once he gets his minutes, then he probably should be playing now. That's how I feel about it. It's not easy, though. I know hard decisions have to be made. I mean, Amir Coffey was fantastic last night. How do you bench that guy?
Yeah, I mean, and as you said, hard decisions. But a coach once told me, that's why guys like Ty Lue make the money they make to make those hard decisions. But you also still got to manage it because what you have to do, right, is like this. So I don't think this will happen. But what happens if Ty Lue decides, you know what, let's go with Jordan Miller last night, right? We're gonna bench somebody that's been in the rotation, that's been in the foxhole with me, playoffs, all of that. I'm gonna bench him for this second year guy, right? What happens if Jordan Miller stinks it up and we lose? You put Jordan Miller in again the next game and the game after that, and Jordan Miller, it's not looking good. Now you have to go back to the guy that you may have lost and
Yeah.
say, hey, I need you to be a part of this. As opposed to just letting it fail and then saying, hey, you see, this is why I'm gonna go and bench you. Those are things that I think that when you're not a part of the team, you're not a part of the coaching staff, and you're kind of watching from Twitter,
Hmm.
you can make those decisions. It's like I used to always say this, bro. Like, you think Ty Lue doesn't see what you see? Like, do you think you see the Ty Lue is with him with Jordan Miller more than you are, right? Not you specifically. I'm just saying in general.
Oh yeah.
Like, so he sees it too, just like we all see that Jordan Miller is probably if I did a list of the best players on the team, just on my honest opinion, man, Jordan Miller is probably higher than most people would even realize in my eyes. But there's a lot of things that Ty Lue has to factor in. But I think there's a real chance here with we lost last night, got a Golden State and what, Denver back to back.
Denver, then
Um
Golden State, Saturday, Sunday.
so yeah, I mean, this is tough sledding. Everything in the West is hard. There's only one team in the West that you could say isn't hard, which is the Blazers. But yeah, every game is going to be hard, and yeah, it can get pretty ugly quick if we're not on it. So I say that to say I think Jordan Miller's minutes. It wouldn't shock me if they come sooner rather than later.
Like if the Clippers start 0-3. I hope it
I
doesn't happen. They got to get 1 or 2 this weekend, but
it, man, I think I don't know the numbers, but it feels like Zoo uh handles his own versus Jokic.
he does.
I like the Harden dynamic with Jokic last year. I think the Warriors. I think the Warriors is a winnable game. I think they're winnable games. But I saw today, bro, the game against the Nuggets is at 2.
Yeah, that's
I think
Saturday
it's
at
at
2.
2.
And then
Oh
Golden
my
State, I think,
god.
is at 5 the next day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like,
how about that?
yeah. Ah.
You
I
could
mean,
take the Clippers out of
right. I was
Figueroa,
gonna
but you
say that.
can't take
Yeah.
the schedule out of them.
Yeah, man.
It's brutal.
It no real chance it could be 0-3, and when you're 0-3, and you got Kawhi with no timetable, yeah, things can get dark fast. So, that's why you can't blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. You can't do it.
No, man.
But yeah, I mean, you're looking at a start that if we win tomorrow, or not, no, Saturday, we win one of these back to backs, and we won last night. It could be somewhere along the lines of what, 2-2. Now, if we win the Blazer game,
Right.
it could be a 1-3 type of play. So yeah, man, we'll see. But yeah, I do think Jordan Miller's chance is coming.
How soon does Kawhi need to get back in your mind, or how many games does he need to play for them to not just stay afloat, like for them to have a chance at getting 6, 7, or 8 in the West, which means you're still in the play-in. But with how
Mhm.
tough it is, 9 and 10 aren't guaranteed right now.
I I had us this summer anywhere between 6 and 10. That's where I had us.
Yeah.
I still have us there. Um, I don't know, bro. It's just the Kawhi situation is so tough to get a handle on. I was hoping he played what, 50,
I'd sign up
50
for
to
50 right now.
55 games.
I would sign up for 50 right now.
Yeah, like that
That's where
would
I'm
be,
at.
yeah, 50. But the thing is, it's tough, right? Because like you look at it's crazy. Ty Lue said the plan was to, not beat up Harden, right? And in game one, overtime, 40 minutes, 28 shots, Harden to tie the game, goes to the rim, gets fouled, and he's laid out like he's dead. Like he's just like, and
Everyone's got a plan till you're tied late in a ball game against the Phoenix Suns in the Intuit Dome opener, and then all of a sudden you do have to play
yeah,
them 40.
yeah. So, and I think that is definitely gonna be more of the norm, right? It's definitely gonna be more of the norm. So you wonder how much Harden is gonna hold up as it pertains to how many games we need out of Kawhi. Hopefully everybody else stays healthy. But yeah, the Kawhi situation is just brutal because when the news came out that he had surgery over the summer, I said, "Oh, we're not seeing him to start the year." Like, that's come on, man. We're not seeing him to start the year. At least to me, at least the first 10 to 15 games, I'm not even thinking about Kawhi Leonard in the lineup for me personally.
Is success then just going 500 over that time? Just
Yeah.
find a way? Yeah, I agree with that.
Uh, 500. You don't want a standings watch this early in the year, but man, after about game 3 or 4, I'm gonna be looking like, all right,
Hey,
I
I saw Houston lost last night to Charlotte. I was like, yeah, I gotta say it at Houston.
right. I'm sitting here looking at the Spurs and the Mavericks, and I'm like, man, I'm like, all right, who would we rather lose tonight? I figure the Spurs is a trendy pick for the play-in. Um, so
They're probably
I
not
think
catching Dallas
yeah,
anyways.
right. So you probably want Dallas to kind of take care of business. But yeah, no, you're probably going to be standings watching a lot earlier than you'd like. But yeah, no, hopefully James Harden can hold up for like the first 30 games and he's special and hold the fort down until Kawhi comes back because man, bro, if he didn't come back until I don't know, bro. Like if he misses like the first 20 games, even it would be par for the course because I tweeted this. I truly believe that there's a plan in place and that they are hell bent on Kawhi Leonard being healthy um to end the year, even if it means 10th seed,
Hmm.
rough start. I think they're going for it. They want Kawhi Leonard to be healthy to start the year.
Yeah, I like that thought. I like that optimism. We need some right now. What's your opinion on Sky Jones, my guy, Kai Sky Jones?
Sky
I thought he
Jones.
was okay last night. Like, can he compete and just do enough to hold his own against other backup centers right now?
To be seen. To be seen.
Sounds
I
like you're
thought he
not
was
as high as I am on Sky.
no. I think that I think he closed the preseason out really well. I don't know what the numbers. I haven't really looked at the numbers, but I thought in the minutes that he was on the floor, um, you know, I thought he did fine. He had a few really nice finishes at the rim. He played his typical brand of basketball, which is just run like a deer and just play really hard. Um, I think that in terms of if we're gonna give him like legitimate backup big minutes, we just got to see more. We just got to see more. He does not have a ton of NBA experience. I think something that I've been personally watching is the way he sets screens, and like sometimes he just doesn't even make contact. Like he just goes up there and then just starts running backwards or rolling, and uh, I'm
He's
pretty sure
too
James Harden is
fast.
gonna,
He's
yeah,
too
like
fast for his own good.
yeah, no, but I like him. I like him. You can tell he really cares. He does seem incredibly grateful for the opportunity that the Clippers are giving him. And he's making the most out of it. He made the team for a reason. And again, this is what I've been saying about pretty much everybody on the Clippers roster. The way the team is constructed this year, you're gonna get your shot. And I think Sky Jones is gonna get his shot to prove that he is um a quality backup big. And yeah, we'll see if he can hold that spot, but I do think he'll get his chance.
All right, a couple more before we let you go here, Jamal.
Hmm.
Uh, Defensively, did you see everything you needed to see from this team to be a
Yeah,
top 10, top 5, top 3? Where do you got them at the end of the year defensively?
I don't know about top 5,
I agree
but
with you.
but that was encouraging. That was encouraging. I came away with thinking a lot of the game was as advertised. Our offense to me was as advertised in terms of there's going to be droughts. There was a drought in the second quarter. To close the game, Phoenix was making a run. Harden's tired, so we're struggling to get quality looks. Um, but defensively, and I saw Tim Legler. I was rewatching some of the highlights on YouTube. I think it was Tim Legler, and he said he was sold, and I was like, cool, because I was at the game. So sometimes when you're at the game, you don't really catch things until you watch it on film. But at the game, it felt like, man, there's real potential defensively here. I've become a real big fan of Airplane. Um,
Mm.
Derek Jones Jr. The way he competed on both ends last night, just from a competitive spirit standpoint, really good. Amir Coffey fought Kevin Durant at times as well. Zoo at the rim, they've kind of surrounded Harden with like some really quality defenders and something that I can't really say we've had a ton of in recent years, which is just length, athletes, motor. We did not feel like a dead team. We didn't feel old, to me. So other than Harden, of course. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I liked it, and I do think there's a real chance that we can be a really good defensive team. And I do feel like I tweeted this too. There was something in that second quarter that I was watching, and this is going to be something that I'm watching all season, is when we are struggling on offense, that's when the defense has to be as good as advertised. You
Yes.
gotta you gotta be able to lock people down until the offense kind of finds level. And it was crazy. The game was going one way, and then by halftime, it was an 8-point lead. And it was only 8 because we were locking up. And you can only hold down guys like Kevin Durant and Book for so long. So in the fourth quarter, they kind of caught fire, but the game was the way it was because of our defense. So no, that was a very encouraging defensive performance, because the visual matched what we kind of been hearing and what you kind of expected from the caliber of defensive talent that we've put together this summer.
Yeah, no longer just the paper tiger talking about that. We got to see
Right?
it be
Yeah.
exercised out there, sure con. But I agree with you, and their defense has to be really good in those situations. I do get concerned about the cumulative effect of having to do that for 82 games if the offense continues to go
Yeah.
through such lows at times and dips, because it's just demoralizing. Like, it is great, and I love the way they're preaching. We're a team that plays hard. That's our identity. Whether Kawhi's here, whether he's not, we got to play hard every night. That stuff is great. But if you are losing games, it becomes much more difficult to keep that up, I think. And if your offense is just hitting the skids and is such a grind all the time and everything's hard and everything's
Yeah.
difficult to get buckets, it will affect your defense. And I think individually with some of the guys on this team, I'm a little bit concerned about that symbiotic relationship between offense and defense. I know it's one game, but Norman Powell had to guard last night and did, and guarded
Yeah.
really well on Booker, on Beal. Well, he also went 1 for 7 from three and was short on a three-pointer and a couple of them late in the game. And I just wonder, like, this is it, Norm. This is why you're starting now, but you got to guard and you have to still do what you've always done on the offensive end.
That kind of reminds me of semi tangent. I remember watching a podcast with like Josh Hart, I think, and he was just talking about how for one game everybody on the Pelicans was hurt, and he was the guy where they ran the offense through him, and he had to be the guy to score 20 on one end, then guard the other team's best player. And then I think after the game, he went to Brandon Ingram and those guys and said, "Hey, y'all don't need to miss any more games. Hurry back." Because it's no joke. It's no joke being a starter in the NBA. Like Norm Powell, like you're gonna have to guard Book, especially on a team like the Suns, because there's really nowhere to go. You're either guarding Book or Bradley Bill, all capable guys that you really have to be locked in on. Then you also have to shoot a fine percentage from three. There's no Kawhi, so you're probably either getting the best or the second best defender. Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility with being a starter. I know Norm comes into training camp every year like I'm an all-star caliber player, like, and it's great that he believes that about himself. But I think sometimes players think it's just a matter of opportunity. when really, bro, there's a lot that comes with being a starter. That means you're playing 30 plus minutes. You can't foul. You have to play defense still. You have to be efficient. And yeah, you just don't wake up and be a starter. So this is a great opportunity for Norm, and I do think he showed up defensively. That was a really great performance, and some of those moments that he had defensively were just like I stood up and I was like, yeah, Norm, like you have the athletic profile to be a much better defender than you showed. But yeah, he's gonna have his chance to be that guy to make threes. We have a set that we run for him that gets him going hard right, downhill, or a pull up that he likes to get into. And yeah, he's gonna show why he can be a starter. And if he can start on this team and we can tread water until Kawhi gets back, that'll say a lot about Norm. He's got a lot of responsibility though.
Lastly, Jamal, I'm going to read something to you, and I just want a one-word answer to this. This is another report from
Okay.
Chris Haynes earlier. Sources: Los Angeles Clippers granted permission for PJ Tucker's agent, Andre Buck, to speak with other teams to facilitate working on a trade. Both sides continue working together while the veteran remains away from the team, waiting for an opportunity to contribute to winning.
Yes.
All right, play it safe.
Yes. My answer is yes, as in yes, whatever it takes to get PJ Tucker, gone, I'm with it. Um that's kind of crazy though. Like, I again, players are so confident in themselves. Like, he wants a chance at winning, and it's like, man, you got traded to the Clippers, a team that was in the midst, like we were really good last year, and we tried. It's crazy when NBA players talk about responsibility and stuff, and it's like, bro, you had the right, like you had it right then and there. I remember the Clipper Laker game last year, bro. They put you in the game, and you wouldn't dare look at the rim. You wasn't even shooting anymore. So yeah, it's funny now that he's looking to go to a place where he thinks he can assist in competing for a winner. But all the best, man. He's had a great career.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully he lands somewhere that makes him happy, him and his kicks.
I thought you were going to go with delusional with the one word, but I'm glad you didn't, because that's too far. Players have to have that irrational confidence sometimes. That's what it takes. Quickly, speaking of,
Yeah.
because you brought it up, and I hear you say this all
Okay.
the time. Terrence Mann, was he looking at the rim enough last night?
No, in my opinion, no.
No.
He did not. He didn't play bad though. But with Terrence Mann, I don't know if believer is the right word, but I'll go with it. I'm a believer, man. Like I just believe a lot of times when I'm watching him, like you can do so much more. I know as the game progressed, he kind of got in foul trouble and stuff. But I think Terrence Mann. I always think Terrence Mann can do more though, right? I just do.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay last night. I don't think he was bad in terms of aggression. But I don't know if you have the numbers in front of you. How many shots did he take?
6. Went 4 of 6, but only took 1 3. And you remember, it was on the right wing of the first quarter.
I remember
He
that.
was wide open. He hesitated. The crowd got on him. Then he took it and missed.
Yeah, I mean, but and then you look at other plays, right? He had that M1 on KD. Um, he had the other drive in the fourth, off the rebound, the dish to Zoo. I think if he's going to be hesitant in a half court on those shots, then he's got to be that guy that almost is like Russ for us last year, where you get the rebound. If you whenever you get it in semi transition or transition, you be the guy to break the free throw line, because even last night you saw it. He's just such a monster at the rim. He does not miss at the rim, and it's kind of why he doesn't miss at the rim, and he's also not a bad shooter. So this is why I'm just like, man, if Terrence Mann, at this point, I kind of understand who he is, but we just need to find a way to get him to get more attempts at the rim, because when
Yeah.
he shoots at the rim, it goes in. Like, he doesn't miss. He's a very efficient player. But no, I do think he could have stood to be even more aggressive last night. But he didn't play bad though.
He is Jamal Christopher. Follow him at Jam Christopher on X and Jamal Christopher on the gram. His analysis is the best out there, in my opinion. I always learn something talking with him. He's got the terminology. He's got the well-articulated opinions that are tough to argue against, even when he's saying pause after a joke. And we love him. This is what Jamal Christopher does. We love his brother, too, and I hope Justin Wilson feels better.
Let me yeah, no, he was telling me today, man, like he's been pretty bad all week, man.
Ooh.
But before I go, man, just shout out to you, man, because you are really working hard. I'm not joking when I say, like, I hope you really are kind of like finding some rest, man, because like you're I'm gonna say it, you were one of the ones that got Clipper Nation through the summer, with just a lot of what I would deem as important figures in the space, giving real content and analysis to get us to the point of opening night. You've got a great thing going. I think this is my second time on, and I'm blessed to be a part of it, man. You've got the game on lock, my brother. So
I know
yeah,
some
just keep
good
going,
people.
man. Get some rest though, for sure.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Are you coming next Wednesday? Are you going to be at the Dome? Dome is home.
Probably not.
All right.
Probably
Well,
not.
next game, text me. Let's have a meetup. I want to hang.
Come on, man. Yeah, say less.
He's Jamal Christopher. I'm Adam Oslin. You've been listening to another edition of Clippers Talk Live. If you missed the Kawhi Leonard conversation with the former trainer in the lawsuit, that was earlier in the episode. If you want to check it out, we will see what happens. Rooting for the truth, as always. And as always, as many say at the end of the Clippers podcast,